Hey everyone, welcome back. So this week I don't have a lot of time in the shed, and the time that I do have I've been spending doing a lot of research and buying and ordering a lot of parts. So I'm getting there a little bit with some of the decisions that I need to make. Some of the stuff I'm still all at odds and ends with. Hey Mick, brakes, one of them you can see I've still got mountains of parts here that I'm trying to piece together. I might have sorted out a solution with that. I'm not having a huge amount of luck through wreckers, but I think I might have found something that'll work. So that'll be great if I can get that done, because then I can get the back end assembled, including some new shock absorbers that have arrived. So I've gone with some KYBs. They're pretty much the only accessible option out there at the moment for the old Brumbies, but I think they should be okay. KYB is a reasonably reputable brand. I've had plenty of bikes with KYB on them, so hopefully that'll all be good. Front shocks I'm still working on. Yeah, I've really gone down a rabbit hole with that one. There's no one that's making a bolt-in fitment. There's been a few people that have made suggestions, and I know a bunch of you have come through with ideas in the comments. Alfredo, Just Cause, Shurias, Brug Juicer, you guys are great, and others. Like I really appreciate the comments and the input that you guys give, as well as the everyone's just giving me a bit of encouragement and stuff. So it all helps me keep motivated and keep going, and oftentimes helps me find the solution. So thank you guys. But I've found one person here in New Zealand that can build a custom shock, but for the pair of them it's going to be about $4,000 New Zealand dollars. That's just not in the budget. So yeah, that's not going to fly. But I'm currently talking to another organization who hopefully can do it quite a bit cheaper than that, and still be a quality brand. The other decision that I have made is on the radiator. There was a few of you that suggested that I stick with the OEM radiator, the original Brumby one, so that's what I've done. I've taken this to a local radiator shop. They've cleaned it, pressure tested it, everything's all good, and they have changed the outlet sizes, so this will fit with the EJ engine because the Brumby ones were narrower. And I've just plugged up here where the temperature sensor on the Brumby would normally sit, but the EJ engine doesn't use that. And I've also got a what's called a recovery cap from them, because from the factory, when the engine heats up and the coolant expands from that heat, it just purges a little bit out through the overflow here. And you would have seen on an earlier episode of the Brumby build that someone previously had just put a bottle there to catch it. It was like an old oil bottle or something that was just zip tied in place. Yeah, didn't look too flash. So not acceptable for this build. I have kept the recovery tank from the outhouse, and hopefully I can plumb that in using this cap, because what this allows is when the coolant expands and it purges a little bit out through that overflow, it'll go into that recovery bottle, and this recovery cap will allow it to be drawn back into the engine when the engine cools down and the coolant contracts again. The guy that did the work on the radiator, he can also source one that will look like a factory component if I go down that path, but again, that's more money, so if I can use the one that came out of the outhouse, that would be better. Other than that, I've been doing a lot of research into parts that I'll need for other areas of the build. One notable area will be the clutch, because the Brumby has a cable clutch, whereas the outhouse had a hydraulic clutch. And yeah, just a little shout out to Steve at Road to Racing. Check out his YouTube channel if you want to see another cool Subaru build. He's doing a GC8 and it's very cool what he's doing. But he put me onto a website called Parts Soup, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and they have a very comprehensive online parts catalogue for OEM parts and aftermarket equivalent, as well as replacement part numbers for parts that have been discontinued. So through there, I've managed to locate a whole heap of the components that I'll need in order to adapt the EJ gearbox to be a cable clutch rather than a hydraulic one. So that's the plan I'm going to go down, and that's involved some brackets and the clutch fork, and also getting a clutch cable from a left-hand drive car, because they're slightly longer than what the Brumby's cable is, being a right-hand drive car. So those bits are all on order. They might take a little while to get here, but that's okay. They'll arrive in due course. I'm not quite ready to do the clutch on it just now anyway. So that's one of the pieces of the puzzle for a future episode solved. So yeah, there's definitely progress happening, but a lot of it this week is all behind the scenes as I'm nailing down these details. So yeah, that's where I've been at this week. But the other thing I've been working on is I'm editing together some footage from a rather cool adventure that I did about this time last year. Went with some friends on an overseas trip. And it involves a green monster that you guys might have seen in the lurking in the corners of the shed here. So I won't give you too many clues about it, but fortunately the friends that came with me managed to capture most of the adventure on camera, and so I'm piecing together hours and hours and hours of footage and putting together the story of that little adventure. So no spoilers here just yet, but if you're not already subscribed, make sure that you do, because I think you guys, if you're petrol heads in any way, or if you're speed freaks in any way, I'm sure you're going to love this. So that should be dropping in about a week's time. But in the meantime, that's all I've got for you guys at the moment. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. See ya.